tonight, let's keep them flowing. Where do you come from? Where are you going? What are you feeling tonight? And what are you showing? Where do you come from? 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 Where are you going? What are you drinking tonight? Let's keep them flowing.
And we are live with the Super PlayStation Bros. What's going on this morning? Hopefully everybody is doing well. We're coming at you with everything PlayStation and what's been going on in the world. I'm joined, as always, by Doragon, repping the Super PlayStation Bros today. And we are going to give you a bunch of news. We got a bunch of changes, some end of an era stuff happening, plus a pretty cool game that I think I want to be showing off here. So that and much more to talk about. But first, I like to ask what you've been playing this week. Dorgon, what's been going on?
Not a huge amount. As I said last week, life is busy at the moment. There's a lot of running around, a lot of responsibilities that I have to be on. So I've only got around to playing 2 games. I've got a little bit of time in on Destiny 2. I'm still doing that post-campaign grind on the final shape. I like that it's taking me a while, that it's not all just happening immediately. That's really nice. But I've also been in Tiger Blade in VR, which is a wickedly fast-paced, really good fun experience. You've got a katana, you've got a gun, you're working for the Yakuza. I've just saved a little tiger cub, as you do. I've done that twice now because I was trying to get some collectibles. I've still missed them all, so hey-ho. But yes, I've been really enjoying my time in VR. VR on PlayStation has been epic so far. I'm still enjoying my time with it. It's the one thing that draws me in when I'm not drawn into the rest of the console at the moment, which I also love. But that has basically been my gaming, unless it's been on mobile. But we're not a mobile gaming show, so I think it's time to hand over to you and what you've been playing, because you've been going back in time from what I've been seeing on your play history.
Uh-oh, yeah, somebody has seen that after defeating the final boss in Elden Ring without a Spirit Ash, doing the challenge, getting it done. Yes, hold your applause, everybody. Oh, flowers really throwing at me. Oh my goodness. Yes. So after completing that, I still had more of an itch, and I went back in time to Dark Souls 3. It is a difficult game. They took things that made Elden Ring easy and accessible, and they put barriers in front of it. So I would say this game has more difficult aspects than Elden Ring. But none of the bosses have really brought an insane challenge. And oh my gosh, the stress levels are so much higher because you have to manage staying alive in that game. The penalty for dying is so high for in any aspect of this game. You can't just try and try again. So it's a cool aspect of the game, and I'm really learning the foundations of which my favorite games were built on.
It's a good game, Dark Souls 3. Demon's Souls out of that sort of era is probably my favorite. I know it was the first, I know it was the hardest of them, but it also had the most world building, I thought, which always matters to me. I'm a very narrative driven gamer, and I like to have a lot of the narrative in front of me and only little bits that you go and find. I don't like to have to try and find it all like in Bloodborne, where it's all just world storytelling. There's not so much in terms of what's in front of you. So I do like the Dark Souls trilogy. I like those 3 games. Dark Souls 3 is probably the easiest of the 3. So if you are going backwards in time, it's going to get harder and harder for you. But like you say, it's good to go back sometimes and see where you've come from in a series.
Also, the game looks pretty decent for 2016. I mean, holds up to some of the games I see nowadays, to be honest. It almost shocks me about how well the game plays and how good it looks. Although, oh my gosh, I missed my jump. But we will.
You don't get jumps here, boy.
No, apparently not. But I'm having
Jumping's for the
fun.
weak.
And I'm also playing Animal Well on my PS Plus.
Finally playing it, eh? Nice.
Yeah. I'm running into a couple difficulties, but every time I run into a difficulty, I go to another part of the map, and somehow the puzzle just clicks for me, and then I go through to the next level. Like, I was dealing with this water fountain shooting thing, and I'm like, where do I put the water? Left it, and then I came back, I messed with it some more, went into something else, I'm like, oh, and now I'm off along some more. I fought this iguana boss. It's a delightful game. It's relaxing. It doesn't ask too much of you, and you get to play with the slinky.
You get to play with a slinky. Like, Animal Well is such a cool game. It's a perfect remote play game. So, like, picking up your Backbone, picking up your Portal, it is a perfect remote play game because you can just sit there and play it while sat on the sofa with your partner, whilst sat in bed, or whatever the case may be. I really like it on remote play. It's great for that. It feels like it was built for a handheld, if that makes sense. It's that sort of handheld
Agreed.
game, like almost like it should be on the Switch as well, or you should pick up a Steam Deck or something like that. But yeah, on the Portal, on the Backbone controller that I've just had in hand, really good game for remote play. I love Animal Well. I need to get back into it. I need to finish it. I really enjoyed it, and I'm glad you're enjoying it too. And you're having those moments of, oh, you idiot, that's how you resolve that, and then back your trudge and sort it out. I like that sort of puzzly type gameplay. It's the Metroidvania-esque-ness of the title that I really enjoy.
Yeah, absolutely. It is cool. And you collect all these eggs, right? And then this peacock is like showing
You
off
collect
the
so
eggs.
much. So much you collect. You could be there for months if you really wanted to. Now, before we go ahead, before we move on, we've got a plea from the chat that we need a third PS Bro, and I come from a household of only 2 siblings. That there's me and my little brother. I can't have a third brother. I don't know how to deal with one of these.
Well, I'm the eldest of 6, so we come from different barrels. But you will be an honorary bro. Thanks for coming in on the last episode, or 2 weeks ago. Appreciate you hanging out with us, TBG. And we know where to call on for sure if we're looking for a panel or something big again. So
100%. Massive thanks for backing up there. I was away on holiday. I'd forgotten to tell Rue, and he got the show planned. So you coming in and sorting it out, that was absolutely amazing, TPG. Thank you so much for stepping in that week. Much appreciated from my end.
And what's going on the rest of chat? Feel free to shout out what you've been playing in the chat. It's nice to see what everybody's been gaming on. We got Ray the Gaming Cyborg, SPG, Wibblesniff. Oh, I know Wibblesniff's been grinding out that first Descendant.
That he has.
TPG PlayStation Gamer, Mr. David Wilson, and more. Thanks for hanging out with us. Let's get into what's going on. We got Ron Slusher as well popping in there. We are going to jump into what's going on in PS Plus, because that's right, we never get the news before it happens, and this week we do. 6 PS Plus extra premium games for July 2024 have leaked early. Yeah, it's awesome news. We get to say what's up in the world before. Yeah, usually we're always late on this one, and it's actually a pretty decent month. Remnant 2, top of the list, obviously very cool, and something that I'm even interested in picking up and playing, which is Crisis Core, the Final Fantasy VII
Ooh.
reunion. So if
Yeah,
it would tell me more about the story that I've been playing recently, finishing Rebirth as well as Remake. So I think that would be an excellent addition, adding to the Final Fantasy VII world that I know right now. Um, if these are all true, I mean, No More Heroes 3 is another very big game, and I don't unfortunately know what Mountain Blade 2 Bannerlord is. And Travis Strikes Again, I believe that's part of the No More Heroes.
it is. Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
I believe that is the second game in the trilogy. So there's no more heroes. Then you've got the Travis Touchdown or whatever the hell it's called. He Rides Again. That's the second game, and then you've got No More Heroes 3. So we're having two of the three of that trilogy added on to PS Plus. Again, these are leaks. This could all change. PlayStation could completely change their mind, or this leak could be 100% wrong. So we are talking with massive grain of salt on this one. It's a really strong lineup if it's true. Remnant 2 was a huge game last year. I remember watching the likes of Whipple play it, the likes of Datto and uh, Miss 5000 Watts and co on Twitch play it. I've wanted to get into it. It's just one of those. I've never had the inclination to put my own money down on it. So it coming as part of the PS Plus Extra and Premium subscription tiers is a huge thing for those who are a little on the fence. And then if you do really like it, it's now a year plus after its launch, so you can go ahead and pick it up dirt cheap, secondhand, or in sales. I think it's really strong just on those three titles, the No More Heroes and the Remnant titles, but that's a list of 6 games there that fulfill a lot of different genres. It's something you and I have been saying for the past few months now with PlayStation Plus. Like, they maybe aren't all for us, for you and I, but there are a lot of games coming that suit a lot of different gamers. I think they're doing a really good job of giving everybody a little something at the moment, and long may it continue.
This lineup is too strong to be true. Come on. It is too strong to be true. I think we'll get possibly Remnant 2 and Crisis Core, but not the other. I mean, if all these games do come, they will definitely show that their subscription is an option at a cheaper value to another said subscription. And I think
We'll get into that one later. Yeah. Yeah, it's a very strong month. They've had banger months before. They've had ultra strong months before where they've put a first party game out plus a huge third party plus a couple of good indies. I'm hoping this is true. Really am. It's a strong solid month for PS Plus Extra and Premium, and that's only 6 of the 10 to 12 titles that are normally spoken about. It doesn't even go into the Premium Classics catalog where we've been getting amazing PS2 and PS Portable titles recently. So half an hour after this show ends, we'll get the full list and probably be really blown away if this is half true.
So yeah, you heard the predictions here. Here's the leak. So before the hand, and if we're right, we get bingo. That's what we're going with. And
Fine.
we're doing it live. Coming up next, we got PS Stars. Yes, have you been wanting those points for playing those games? Buying those purchases, where have they gone? I need my PlayStation cryptocurrency back so I can put my cute little adorable dolls on the shelf. And come on, where are my Astrobot dolls? I should be getting Astrobot dolls for doing these new achievements. PS Stars is back online in Europe, Asia, and Australia. So far, I checked before the show up here in Canada. I was not receiving the update. However, I did get a different message saying that we are phasing the update and you should see something soon. So that is different from experiencing technical difficulties. I did have to do a brand new sign in. So I think we're on the edge of being back to normal.
Whereas for me, it's already back. It came back this morning. You've got all of your rewards available that you can sign up for. Obviously, I don't own Major League Baseball, the show, so I haven't signed up for that one. But the PSVR ones, your monthly play games, Destiny 2, they're all available in here. There are some new rewards up and available as well at the moment. So they've got these enamel pins, which have popped up since coming back. You buy these with your currency. So there's Jin, there's Kratos, there's Ratchet, there's Drake. Quite a few other cool pins that we've got going on there that you can add to your collection. We've got Slimer for those fans as well, but there's games that have popped up as well that you can redeem for currency. So for 17,000, you can redeem Stellar Blade. For 5,000, you can redeem Bloodborne. It's come back really like it was never gone, which is kind of weird that there's no sort of statement onto what happened, why we're in the situation that we are in, why it disappeared for over a month, what happens with the purchases that you made in that month and such. Very oddball situation that we're finding ourselves in with PlayStation Stars, but it's back. Your things haven't gone down. You haven't lost any of your currency. I feel like I've gained some currency. I don't know whether they put 1,000 or so coins into everybody's bags for, cocking up for a month, but we're back. It's a nice little rewards program. It's nothing huge, but hey, if I can get to Stellar Blade, Helldivers 2, or Rise of the Ronin as redeemable games at that 17,000 coins mark, I'll take it.
Absolutely. And hopefully, and I will be checking, I want to add a little Astrobot skin to my my shelf there, and we have this nice little Astro animation you sent me with all the little guys running through. I'm so hyped for this Astro. Look at the Ratchet and Clank Astro. Oh my goodness.
I think we're going to see a few of these. Different characters, different versions of Astro. It's just a nice little thing leading up to it, isn't it? I love it. I love cool little things like this. Great marketing scheme. It just gets people on board. And it's that little kind of mascotty, cutesy thing that consoles have been missing for a few generations now. I like it.
Yeah. I'm on the hype train. Actually, I did a live stream right when the update released, coincidentally, and it blew up a little bit on my channel. I think it went to like 5K. And so I made another update on the newest Astrobot, and now you can go in and you can get I knew her name before the show coming in. The girl from Returnal, Selena.
Come on.
Selena.
There you go.
Boom.
Celine.
The one Celine. The one with the two eyes. See, I'm European. I want to add
with the two eyes.
The red and the blue eye. That's how they showed it in the Astrobot. Is very cute. I love Astro. I'm all ready for it. Coming this September, and I can't wait till more animations like that drop. It's gonna be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I would love to see more. Bring it. Just bring it on.
I'm such a sucker. So, what do? Do I pre-order the physical edition and get that poster? Or
yes.
do I just get the digital deluxe? I don't know.
Physical, obviously.
I know,
Physical.
You're such a
Come
physical.
On. Yeah, you're talking to the guy who still buys physical for everything. Come on.
Well, that being said, you may not get that option soon, right? So it may be a relic. Sony is stopping disc production. So Sony stopping disc production will be a massive blow to game preservation. We have an article that says Sony is looking to wind down production of Blu-ray discs with the goal of eventually ceasing production of physical media altogether. This would be bad news for, just sheer preservation of entertainment data. We see now that the PS3 is almost lost in time due to not being able to emulate games properly. I know I myself have had issues emulating games on the PS5 via PS3, so it's sad to see and it's a generational change of things happening. Um, I know you are a big advocate of physical production, physical copies of things, having your rights attached to it. And I believe because of the reasons you like physical is why they're taking it away. And
I
cost.
believe you're probably right. I think the bigger one, as you say, is cost. Sony are one of the biggest producers currently of Blu-ray media. So they do it for movies. So if you're buying a 4K Blu-ray movie, the likelihood is that has been printed by Sony, even if they weren't involved in the production of the movie or anything like that, because they are one of the biggest creators of this media in the world at this moment in time. If you're buying a Blu-ray of any particular description, especially like those 4K Blu-rays and what have you, it probably come through Sony's warehouse. What this report is saying is that they are looking to wind down the production of physical media themselves. What that means is they will be pulling out of that particular race. They won't be creating any more Blu-rays. It does not mean particularly that they won't be using physical media. There is nowhere in there that it says that their aim is to go to an all digital future for every single thing. They still make the best 4K Blu-ray players on the planet. They're one of the only companies that do make 4K Blu-ray players on the planet. They are at a premium price tag. They make a lot of money for Sony year on year. And then, of course, people are buying Blu-rays to go into those Blu-ray players. They're keeping those Blu-ray players running, so they're buying spare parts from Sony. This is just a case of they don't want to be dealing with that disc side of it. And just because they're not making the Blu-rays doesn't mean they won't continue to use Blu-rays. But we also have to look across one of the fences at Nintendo. Nintendo do not use any form of disc in their current console, and it is the best-selling thing on the market. And on the second-hand market, those games hold all of their value. You can go and try and buy Breath of the Wild now, which came out in 2017, so 7 years ago, and it still costs the same £45 that it did when it launched, and it's been sold on 3 or 4 times. That is the value of a Nintendo Switch cartridge. That game is on that cartridge, you put that in, not connected to the internet, and you can play Breath of the Wild in full. There is nothing to stop Sony, Microsoft, and anybody else who wants to get into the console business further down the line from going ahead and putting different physical media in their devices. We've had cartridges with the PlayStation Vita before, we've had mini UMD discs with the PlayStation Portable before. There are multiple different ways to do this. If they just go down the route of like a micro SD card, you can get so much more space on, say, a micro SD card than you can on a Blu-ray disc. So they could create bigger, better, more bombastic, and better performing games just because they've got the physical space to do so. It's not quite the huge problem that this news article is making it out to be, but it is a bit of a concern because we've seen it with other platforms before. This is a Google Stadia controller that no longer has a platform that it can connect to. That platform's gone. All of the games that it played are gone. So we have no way of preserving or showing off to people what Stadia was capable of whilst it was on the market. I can show people what PlayStation 3 was capable of because I have my PlayStation 3 and I have the physical games. I can show people PlayStation 2, PlayStation 1. I can show them the Nintendo Entertainment System. I can show them the Switch that is current and the online preservation they've got there. So there are ways and means to do this. As you say, though, the PS3 right now is in a bit of a sticky situation for people being able to come to it now, today. And we are the only industry in the world where 80% of what has been created is no longer accessible. Can you imagine not being able to access Gone with the Wind just because you couldn't play Betamax anymore? And that was it. Gone with the Wind was done because it was on Betamax only sort of thing. That's the idiocy of this whole move everything to digital, bring nothing forward situation that we've got right now in the video game industry. It's just, this is getting a bit bent out of shape ahead of time to make it known that we want physical media so that we can preserve the video game industry that we love so much.
That is, I think it's all transitional, and like you said, they may outsource or they may change their media format. Only time will tell. And we're along for the ride, and we'll keep letting you know. But like I've said and predicted, we are going all digital in the near future. I think that's the way they want us to be in consuming games. And I definitely believe that they need to start archiving this a lot better. Like you said, we can't be losing this data at such a crazy rate. But Switch 2 will be all digital, and PS6 all digital. Watch. You heard it here. I'm predicting it.
You're the same guy who predicted a Sony Switch. So
Oh,
I'm
yes.
not enticed
Still
to
invested
believe
in that
everything
one.
that you're saying.
Still invested in the Sony Switch.
I hope we don't get an all digital future. Look at it with video now. I couldn't tell you the last time I bought a DVD or a Blu-ray because it's been that long. But I went the other week. I wanted to watch The Matrix. My partner hadn't seen it. I wanted to watch it. It was not available anywhere. I couldn't buy it on Google Play Movies. It wasn't on Sony Core. It was not available on Netflix or Amazon Prime Video. The only way that I could get it was either through individual little clips on YouTube and putting them all together in a playlist so you got the whole movie, or pirating it. And that's a situation that the movie industry, which is much better preserved than the video game industry, has put itself into with this all digital setup. We are losing some of the best bits of entertainment that we have ever had. And I don't see why we should accept that as consumers. It's so much easier to just go and grab a disc and stick it in. Wibblesniff has got tons of 4K Blu-rays. He's got a bunch of digital options as well because they're quicker and easier sometimes. But that physical option should always be there as a choice. It would be like never having a physical book in hand again. I could not fathom how terrible that would feel, trying to read on a screen like this forevermore, rather than having a fully bound book in your hand. Physical matters. It really matters for preservation, and just look at the value of something like an original copy of, say, Lord of the Rings. It's incredible because of its cultural significance. And we are losing that in video games where 80% of the industry just isn't there. If we're going to an all-digital future, I'm personally going to fight wholeheartedly against it, speak out at every opportunity, and I would hope as many gamers as possible would join me in such a vocal protestation of the situation.
Well, to really sum up the state of what's happening here, you can really look back at the Matrix and sort of draw that to parallel. I mean, in today's society, that's why they're getting rid of payphones, is so people can stop leaving the Matrix. And that's how the world works, everybody.
I did not think that was where you were going with that one. I appreciate it though. Obviously, the machines have realized that's how we leave the Matrix, so get rid of the payphones. They cannot leave the Matrix. Completely understandable.
That's why cell phone technology was driven so quickly, and now nobody can leave the Matrix anymore.
Ironically, I've got a little adapter here to go into my landline connection because they've switched it over to a fiber thing. I don't have a landline. I don't have the phone that goes into the landline. But they sent me this little adapter so that I can use basically a fiber optic landline now. I was like, can we still escape the Matrix on a fiber optic landline? Does that work? No. Or does it have to be copper?
Yeah, it's got to be hardlined into the earth, I assume. I don't know how the science of the Matrix works.
Oh, brilliant. Right, we're way off topic. We should probably bring it back to PlayStation.
Although, I did hear that there's a possible rumor of Enter the Matrix being remade. So, remember that one as a fun title.
I would love that. I had that on very low-level laptop. It played certain games, did like Battle for Middle-earth, it did Cricket 06 or something. It really struggled with Enter the Matrix, so I've never actually played it at more than 2 frames per second. So I would be well up for like a remake that looks like say, the Matrix Awakens Unreal 5 tech demo, but plays like Enter the Matrix did, I'd be well up for a remake of that.
Hey, Neil, thanks for jumping on in.
I knew.
Well, it's a strategy one onto itself as we move on from physical only world. It's a strategy one onto itself, I think, that we're seeing PlayStation returning to the Tokyo Game Show as an exhibitor for the first time since 2019. I think what we're seeing is their business strategy transitioning more towards, I think, an audience that they want to grapple and make sure that they're dominant in their home base. And we see it here. There is rumors of Hideo Kojima possibly headlining the keynote speech for PlayStation. We could see announcements for the brand new espionage shooter that they teased on the last showcase, or they could simply be talking more Death Stranding. The Tokyo Game Show is set to be a massive exhibition with a total of 3,190 booths. I mean, you've been to exhibitions. 3,190 booths. Do they have facility? Like, that's a massive exhibition place. I mean, it's just huge. 731 companies. Yeah. Like, I don't even know how this would look like. The floor plan would be management would be insane. How do you manage that many people? It's ridiculous.
It's Japan. That's how. If you say to do something to make something happen, it'll happen because they want it to happen as much as the exhibitors want it to happen. The fans want it to happen. Tokyo Game Show it's huge for Sony. It's where the PlayStation was first sort of whispered about, announced about, things were shown off. It's where Metal Gear Solid was first teased. It's got a long and storied history for both Hideo Kojima, as you say, and PlayStation as a whole, them both being Japanese brands, Japanese people, that sort of thing. So them returning to a non-Sony trade show is kind of a big deal. They've not been to any since 2019, so they pulled out of E3, they pulled out of Tokyo Game Show. They didn't appear at a bunch of Game Awards, actually. I think it was 2 or 3 Game Awards that they didn't appear at or show any trailers at. So this is a huge 180-degree turn. What that says to me is that they've got something to show off. Whether it is the rumored PlayStation 5 Pro, whether it is a bunch of new games, first-party exclusives, whether it is tactical espionage action from Hideo Kojima, or just a playable version of Death Stranding. I can't say at the moment. I've not heard any rumors about what might be there. Do we have dates of when the Tokyo Game Show is this year? It's normally August time, isn't it? If I'm remembering correctly.
We have a date on September 26th until the 29th.
So, there are rumors to therefore support that this is going to be the big blowout that shows the second half of the PlayStation 5 lifespan that's going to knock everybody off their feet, if those rumors are to be believed. So this could be where Sony and PlayStation go big. At their home trade show in Tokyo Game Show. It's a massive venue. It's ridiculous. So big, but so well organized just because, you know, that's the way Japanese people and industry works. It has the chance to be something huge, this one. I'd be keeping a close eye. Very much keep a close eye. I think this is precursor
I think what
to
you said
big.
was very telling. Having Metal Gear teased for the very first time at the Tokyo Game Show almost gives me that secondary hype that possibly Hideo Kojima could come out and announce this new espionage shooter as sort of a homage to what he did before. This is the perfect place to announce it. There's definitely enough people that will be listening to this. So I think if anything, if we saw even the like a teaser trailer of the smallest amount, I think something new could be announced here, and I think this would be the place to do it, and like you said, really hit a home run at the home field.
I would temper that expectation. I would imagine it's a release date for Death Stranding 2 rather than anything more, just because with how much gameplay and cinematics we've seen, they're just in the polishing phase, so I would imagine a release date for Death Stranding 2 is much more likely. But if we do get that teaser, the gaming world will go a little crazy. But yeah, keep your eyes.
Teaser trailer. Another Rudig's prediction. Teaser trailer for new espionage shooter. Metal Gear. Not so solid. Coming up.
Metal Gear floppy.
You know, what would he call it? Who knows? Would he go off of, I don't know. You know, that's the mind, right? And I'm just excited to see where he goes with it. But Tokyo Game Show, what are we going to see 26th to 29th? Obviously, we're going to see more of the games we love, but it's always fun to guesstimate what we're going to see in the future.
I'd say there's at least one big thing, hence they're being on the show floor. Whether that is new hardware or new software, I can't state right now. Whether we get the big PlayStation blowout prior to Tokyo Game Show, and then them being on the floor at Tokyo Game Show is showing off everything that they had, or as much as they can, that they had in that showcase. We don't know, we'll find out nearer the mark, but them actually being at a show for the first time in 5 years, to me personally, and feel free in chat or in comments, wherever you end up watching this, to argue with me as much as you fancy, but then being at a trade show for the first time in 5 years says there's something big.
Yeah, agreed. That's right. I think we're going to see Metal Gear Solid 17. Let's go. I don't know what he would call it. Like, it feels Metal Gear. What are they going to call it? Tactical Espionage 1? I don't know.
I mean, that's the genre of the game.
Yeah.
There would be a name for it. It would be something completely out of left field, because who saw Death Stranding coming for a DPD simulator?
Right.
And it still turned out to be an excellent game. He would come up with something that we would all think, what the hell are you chatting about, Kojima-san? And then we would turn around and suddenly everybody's loving it, because that's how the creative mind of that man and his team go. And we can't forget his team. He might be the figurehead of it, but his team make those visions actually happen.
Okay. The new game will be called Quiet Conscience. That's my prediction. All right. Now,
again, too much out of the Metal Gear Solid IP. Can't have that one.
I know. Introducing. Okay, so as a collector, I know you may be jumping for joy on this next news story. They're introducing new PlayStation Studios collectible figures. Listen, we're not going to call them toys. They are collectible figures from Spin Master. But you know, all I would be doing with these toys is being like, oh, I'm Kratos. Oh, I'm, Aloy. Battle. Ta 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 ta. Come on, they're toys. That's what's gonna happen to like 90% of them.
And of course it should. Like, it really should. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, I love this guy. This guy is incredible in his detail, in the diorama, in everything. Absolutely incredible. But
look at how big that is.
This is it. This is all you get. Yeah, it's a bit ridiculous in terms of size, but this is all you get. I have a Lego set that I was bought for Christmas, and it is a Lego set from Jurassic Park. It's the Dilophosaurus, Dennis Nedry, and the Jeep. And regularly, it sits on my little coffee table in the middle of the living room. I will come downstairs to it having changed position. It will be in a new pose, new diorama. I have had that Dilophosaurus changing tires on the Jeep. I've had him running away with Dennis Nedry's trousers. I've had him doing all sorts of weird and wonderful stuff. And that's what reposable collectibles offer you. They offer you a chance to mix it up. Like, a lot of people have these figures in the background of their streams and such, and they're stationary, they're the same at all times. But don't you think as a streamer it would make so much more sense to move some of these things around and have it as a little spot the difference Easter egg thing for your viewers to tune into and see what you've changed? as just a collector, isn't it cool to have those moments of, oh, you've changed that one into this pose, that's so cool. And like you say, now and then you just become a giant kid and just have Kratos and Aloy fighting off against one another. Him throwing the axe, her shooting the axe out of the air with an arrow, and so on and so forth. It's just, they're high quality, they're fun, and the reposability of them gives them a few more legs than something like my 19 inches of Venom. So I'm game for it, and I know you'll have at least one of them. You will have at least one of them, I can guarantee.
Oh, I don't know. Maybe if they had a Helldiver. Why is it these 3 IPs? Like, they're just so unrelatable to me in... I don't know. Aloy would be my number 1, because obviously I've beaten both of those games. The God of War one, I'm still making my way through Ghost of Tsushima, but I did beat all the DLC, and like, I would say halfway through the main world.
Ghost is incredible for me.
It's a big game.
It's something we're probably going to come on to a little bit later, or you might be on a different show this week, but Ghost of Tsushima was the top-selling game in the US last month. It's a 4-year-old game, and it was the top-selling game in the US in June. That is how big and important that game is. So yeah, that's why Jin is there, because he is such a powerhouse of PlayStation after a single release. Yeah, obviously, Kratos, the God of War series, is incredible and has been running for 20 years at this point. And Aloy has been that other figurehead. She's the one who pushes what the hardware is capable of. Granted, it does mean that your floor disappears on occasion and you fall through it, but hey, she's still pushing it.
You know what game I booted up the other day, which reminds me, is Killzone on the PS5. It's fun. I got through the first level, the retro feel, and I'm like, how did they get from this to Horizon? Just ridiculous.
Same studios, somehow.
Yeah. Epic. Definitely in a showdown of these guys, Kratos would win, though. I mean, he's got an axe and he's a literal god of war. I mean, there's no taking down Kratos. In a
he is battle, slightly overpowered.
In a toy battle, he's gonna win. But that's a lot of fun. Available in August. I would love to see more of PlayStation Studios releasing these, but I think they'll do very well with these first ones. And perhaps we could see this coming up in the near future. And I think they went with an excellent armor set for Jin. So I do think they made the right move there. Very cool looking.
Very much so, yeah. I think these are cool. I think they're great. I don't have any shelves behind me, as you can see. I've got nowhere to put these guys. I am running out of space in my little corner where my things go at the moment, so I would have to probably get rid of something else before I got hold of these, but I still think they're cool. And for those who've got the space for them, go mad. Enjoy them. Have great fun with them. I wish I could, but I don't have the space.
I'm just not, that collector type of... I don't have anything... Actually, you know what? Oh my god, I'm such a liar. Look at me. Wow, I have 3 freaking amiibos right beside me sitting right here. And I know this isn't PlayStation, but look at that. Zelda in 3 titles there. I don't know. They just chill here, but I mean, definitely... I've even convinced
you're not the only one
to get it. Yeah, oh, there we go.
I've got a bit of Dialga here. Yeah, you're not the only one with some Nintendo going on as well.
Hey, Xbox International Podcast. Thanks for coming here. Appreciate you stopping on in. Should Louis be nice? Oh my gosh, Louis, I know you want to bring the heat.
We will get to that, Louis.
I've been saying. Yeah,
Louis, we will get to that one. It's a future bit in the show. Do not worry. And you can be as cruel or as defensive as you want to be whilst we rip you apart for the saddest day in Game Pass's existence.
I digress. So if you're wondering if you should be nice, Louis, obviously Dorgod's revealed his katana out of his sheath. But this one I really wanted to cover because I am a fan of the genre. And I think this is something that I could get back into. All Guns Blazing has redefined this shoot 'em up genre, and You must be wondering, oh, what is this Jet game? What are you talking about, Rudex? You play Souls games. Check this out. I feel like it has been so long since this genre has been given the next generation touch. And if any game looks like it's anticipated for me, it's this one. All right. This brings back memories of sitting in front of those big box arcades, moving the ship, blasting guns, taking on entire arsenals. I've been waiting for a really cool looking game like this, and this is on the top of my watch list now. If you're a fan of retro games, I hope I've added this to your watch list, because very, very cool to see this genre given some love. The shoot 'em up bullet hell that really was the foundations for Returnal, I want to say, is back in full action and just looks fantastic. Oh my gosh, love it.
You are 100% correct with that Returnal thing, because the game that Housemarque made before making Returnal was a game called Resogun. It was free on PlayStation Plus at the beginning of the PlayStation 4 generation, and it was this. It was a side-scrolling bullet hell. With you were a little ship and trying to save everything and what have you. This seems to have co-op in it, which is great. I hope it's couch and online co-op, so that we've got all of the options. Like you say, that they're grossly underrepresented otherwise since that sort of early PlayStation 4 era. So yeah, I'm also looking forward to this. I'm kind of shocked it's Konami publishing it. Really shocked it's Konami publishing it. These are the guys who got out of making games to make Plinko machines, because there's more money in Plinko, and now they're coming back and they're bringing us some really cool, fresh things like this. So yeah, I understand why you're excited. I truly do, because I'm keeping my eye on this as well.
Yeah. I just wanted to bring that to attention, and let's get into... Oh, I've been avoiding it, but should we just talk about it?
Shall we just do it? Because I'm quite sure chat want to talk about it as well. We've had a few questions about it already. Shall we just do it and get it out of the way?
All right. As a PlayStation gaming podcast, we typically shy away from talking about the other guy, but we are seeing some aggressive moves being shot up for the price of Game Pass. I'm hearing $5 in some cases for people per month. I mean, an extra $60, so that's an extra game they're essentially asking for you. And at this point, I would say my PSA to people is do calculations in your head and really see if this service is worth it to you. How many games, how much time do you spend? It is shocking to see from a company that has announced record high profits, record high performance on the stock market, to then turn around to its consumers and ask for more money. I don't understand the practices and how they can ask for the people to keep supporting them after the fact that they said there wouldn't be a price increase after the ABK deal. But here you are having to pay for another game, Call of Duty, as part of your Game Pass subscription. So, Doragon, that was my rip into it, which won't be as brutal as yours, I'm about to say.
Not that bad, am I? I feel for the Xbox gamers right now. We had a very similar thing at the tail end of last year when PlayStation Plus got increased by 20%. I've just renewed my PlayStation Plus Premium, and it was £120 this time round rather than the £100 it was this time last year. That hurts. That's an extra amount of money that I've got to find, otherwise put food on the table for my family for a few days. So, like you said, you've got to sort of look at your finances, at how much you utilize these services on both sides of the fence, not just over there on the green Xbox side, but over here on the blue PlayStation side. And also with the Red Switch side, like, that they're not innocent in all of this either, having raised Nintendo Switch Online prices recently too. And what you're going to find is that we're in a world where an industry of art, an industry of the arts, like video games, like television, like movies, like theaters, the art should come first. That is what brings people through the door. But right now, in the video game industry, it is being run like a corporation. All of it. Everybody is trying to run it like a corporation. We need more growth, we need more money, we need this, that, and we need the other. While that happens, you're going to see a decrease in the quality of life that you, as the end consumer, will get. So this is increased prices on things. We've seen both sides of the fence raise prices of games this generation to $70 each in US. We have seen both companies raise the price of their consoles by $50 each, up from the $450 up to $500 during this console generation. We have seen both sides of the fence raise their subscription services prices in Xbox's case, in the last 2 years, Game Pass Ultimate has increased by 50%. It is 50% more expensive now than it was 2 years ago, especially in the US. It was like $10.99 and now it's $20. Like that's absolutely ridiculous. That's doubled in price. Whereas here it's gone from £9.99 up to £14.99. That is a 50% increase. It is £5 more expensive than it was 2 years ago when it was £10. Like, these are ridiculous increases in price. All it's going to do to these companies is lower their profit margins further, and they are going to have to then reassess things. What I will say about this one is it's taken a lot of the wind and bravado out of a more toxic vocal section of the Xbox fan base, because they've basically turned around and said PlayStation were right all along. This is not a sustainable business model. We need you to buy the games and then we'll put them on this service 2 to 3 years down the line. I think that is the only positive either side of the fence could take out of this, is that Sony did it right first time in terms of a subscription model, whereas Microsoft have lied for years at this point, and it's so common they're lying about what they're going to do, about how they're going to treat their customers, that you sort of expect it. I saw the news of this price rise, and I wasn't surprised by any of it. Even though Phil Spencer had directly said in interviews that we will not raise the price of Game Pass, he said to courts around the world, to regulatory bodies around the world, we will not raise the price of Game Pass to include Activision Blizzard, and then has gone and done just that. And it wasn't surprising. That's the harshest thing. So I feel for Xbox gamers. They are feeling the pain that we felt back in November, December, when we were told about the PlayStation Plus price rise. I feel that their version of this tiered approach that PlayStation Plus takes is so much worse, because you've got 4 versions of it that all do different things, and 2 of them have got 0 value in them at all. So you've got that Game Pass Core now, which I believe is going up to like £7.99 or $7.99 per month, which is what console Game Pass was. But you're only getting 25 games permanently with that. Xbox Live Gold would have already had 27 games in the time that this core has been live. So they've been screwed on that front. They're getting less games for more money. You've then got the PC Game Pass, which is going up to $12.99, which is what Game Pass Ultimate used to be. They're getting everything that Game Pass PC players want. That's still there. It's just more expensive now. There's then this new Game Pass Standard tier, which is what Ultimate cost after that first price rise, so the $14.99, and you do not get day one games. You do not get all of the Xbox studios. You do not get the same game library as Ultimate, and Ultimate gets you everything. And that is the only place that you can get Xbox Cloud Gaming, which earlier this week they just announced was absolutely amazing, because you could now get it on Fire TV sticks. So I feel for Xbox gamers. I really do. They have been screwed at every single turn this generation. They have been lied to constantly by the guys at the top of the business, and I don't understand how there can be any trust left. I feel for them. I truly do. I wish it weren't the case, but you've got to realize that you're dealing with corporations trying to run the arts, and that's never, ever going to work.
And that's why I think subscriptions are going to hit a buckling point. As you alluded to previously, PC Game Pass is now at the price that Ultimate used to be at. We used to think it was fine to pay $5 to $6 a month. Then they slowly pushed us to, okay, $10 a month for a subscription. Now they're pushing $20 a month as an average subscription price. And honestly, I just feel like it has to break at some point, because the value for what you get over the year cannot be that inclusive at that point. It's starting to hurt.
I saw I saw a post on Threads earlier today from a Kiwi player, someone living in New Zealand. They had a message through to say that it was increasing to like $560 a year. And he said, beg your pardon? Why? You're not doing anything other than upping the cost of it. And Sony isn't innocent in all this. 10 years ago, when I first signed up to PlayStation Plus, it cost me £30 for the year. Bear in mind, a week ago actually, I paid for PlayStation Plus and it cost me £120. That's a 10-year increase of £90. Like, they're not innocent in this. We can't turn around and say that PlayStation have got this right, that they're doing everything perfectly, that they're better than Xbox, that there's problems on this side of the fence as well as that side of the fence. It's just theirs is a lot fresher and they're hurting a lot more. We've got to... We've just got to be there for them and pick up the pieces when they need us to, I feel, because we gamers are the ones getting screwed on all of these subscription services. There's nobody doing it right now. Nobody.
And PlayStation, I think, is starting to recognize it. That's why they're trying to give you entertainment as well, because they know that as they're raising their price, they have to give you more. And that's why you received, I believe you did it for the 3 movies you get access to, or 3 tokens to get movies on the Sony Core platform. And it's just things like that where they have to look at the table and they have to innovate and provide people more entertainment through, and if it's not gaming, then through their other services as a more all-inclusive service program. I don't know what the fine balance is, but I don't know where subscriptions are going to be in the future, and I think smarter minds than I have not figured this out either.
The problem is these subscriptions are not profitable. The PlayStation one's not profitable, the Xbox One is not profitable. Even the Nintendo one's not profitable. At £17 a year, it can't be profitable. It's absolutely ridiculous, that one, and especially when it's held together with silly string and duct tape. But they're at market saturation, all of these things. So anybody who's going to have PlayStation Plus already has PlayStation Plus, and they have got the level of PlayStation Plus they want to have. They're not going to go up, they're not going to go down. They have got exactly what they want from it. Anybody who wants Game Pass already has Game Pass. Anybody who wants GeForce Now already has GeForce Now. Anybody who wants Amazon Luna already has Amazon Luna. Anybody who wants Shadow PC already has Shadow PC. Anybody who wants Nintendo Switch Online already has Nintendo Switch Online. I could keep going with these subscription services because there's Ubisoft Plus, there's EA Access, there's a bunch of others that all cost a stupid amount of money per month that they think that they can squeeze out of us gamers who are already on the breadline. They're at saturation point. And you've got a bunch of people who are just going around in circles, signing up to what they want for a month and then cancelling it to play whatever they want to, because it is a cost-effective way of playing the games that you want to play if you can play them within a month. For the average consumer, for the average gamer, none of them make sense because you end up overpaying for every single game that you play. You're better off just buying them outright. And with these price increases, the consumers are definitely starting to see that. It was easy when it was $10 a month. It's the best deal in gaming, and for $10 a month you could completely believe that, even though you were paying $120 a year 2 years ago. Now in 2024 to 2025, you're paying more than double that for exactly the same as what you had back then. And people are starting to realize that my money's better spent elsewhere. So this saturation point that they're already at, they are these price increases will diminish. You might end up seeing more revenue, maybe not more profits, but more revenue because people are spending more on the access that they have. But you're going to see less uptake overall because people are already squeezed to breaking point, considering in that same 2-year period, every bill has increased by over 200% for every person on the planet. It makes no business sense. Small profits, quick returns is how most of these businesses started. It's how they got a big foothold in the industry. And now they just want big profits all the time. There's a lot of miscalculations, I feel, going on. And I feel in short time, we might well see the end of these subscription services or a drastic overhaul, which seriously diminishes their offering for a lower price because they're just losing money hand over fist.
Yeah, it's really unfortunate to see, but we're along for the ride, and we'll be reporting it the whole way through. As you're probably hearing today, yes, Game Pass has gone up in price, and who knows if PlayStation will be soon to follow. Typically, this is sort of the canary in the coal mine. We could possibly see an increase.
Tends to be the other way around though, because Sony and PlayStation are the smaller company, a $90 billion company versus a $3 trillion company. You'll see PlayStation's prices increase before Microsoft's. So I think we've already seen that first price rise, but if we see a second, Xbox gamers, Game Pass gamers need to be aware of what's happening because it'll be hitting them within 6 to 8 months.
Yeah. I think to find that the 1999 is valuable to you, you have to be a big fan of the games Xbox is publishing. And if that's your jam, then I think that's where you get value if you are looking to beat and play more than 6 of these Xbox published games a year at this point. But it's a balancing act, and everybody will be in charge of their own economics at the end of the day. And
They will, and it's time availability as well. A lot of people are time poor. I know here in the UK, the work-life balance is awful. There are so many people who are working from like 8 a.m. through to 9, 10 p.m. So they don't have the time to get the value out of these services. I don't know what it's like in Canada or the US, but I imagine it's probably worse than even we've got. Whereas if you look at somewhere like Australia, where they've actually got work-life balance, yeah, it might be worth it to those guys over there, even though their costs are exponentially more than the US's costs. So it's a very difficult one. But like you say, we're all in charge of our own economics. We're all in charge of our own finances. But we all need entertainment as well. And entertainment being priced out of the reach of the general public, we've seen how that works in the past, and it never ends well. So tread carefully, companies.
yeah, because at this point, Microsoft has said we're not going to try to pull in outside people by lowering our prices. That's not going to be our strategy, which used to be a solid strategy in the beginning. At this point, they're just looking to make more money off of the people they already have, or anybody new coming in. They're now about to make more money on these new users, and it's just I guess that's basically like raising the rent to play games, and it's an odd place to be in as a gamer. It almost makes me feel like I want to take my independence and just buy the games I want to play. Feel better that way. But that's just me personally. To each their own.
I totally get it, and I've been a proponent of just buying the games outright anyway. It gives more support to the development houses. It shows through figures to these companies that this is what you actually want. It's all well and good having 20 million players, but if those 20 million players didn't pay a penny extra for playing that game than they did for playing an indie title in the same month, what does that actually mean in terms of a company's survival thing? So I've been a proponent of that for a long time, buying your own game. I've been a proponent of buying it physically anyway, because you then get to keep the game. You can still install that game onto your console, even if you haven't got an internet connection, even if those servers don't exist. But as these get more and more expensive, it's harder and harder to justify them. Like, at $5 a month, Game Pass Ultimate was incredible. At $20 a month, 4 times its original price, it's a bit much to ask, isn't it? So, like you say, we're all in charge of our own economics and finances. We all need to make our own decisions. For me, Game Pass hasn't been worth it for a few years now because it's always been more expensive than PlayStation Plus, but even PlayStation Plus is pushing that not worth it mark. So we'll see. I might very soon have 0 subscription services at all because all of my movie and TV show ones have already gone. I just watch everything on YouTube or certain websites that we can't talk about because I have no financial means to watch everything otherwise. So it's mad. It's just greed. And anybody trying to defend it, you're a corporate apologist, you need to get out and touch grass because this is not acceptable.
Now let's move on to the last topic of the day. Netflix is dropping Zero Dawn TV show, reportedly on ice. Now that is a bit sad to see. I think Horizon Zero Dawn show would have been epic and a lot of fun. There is a certain presence that Aloy brings. I think the story would have lent itself to some great set pieces, interesting characters, and I'm a little sad to see that PlayStation didn't get to hit one out of the park with this guy. We saw a lot of great things from The Last of Us, and having Aloy on the wayside is a bit of a bummer.
It is, but it's not the end of the show. The problem with this particular one is the guy running the show is once again one of those predators. Takes advantage of people, bullies people on set, really talks down to female members of cast and crew. Basically just a vile, cretinous excuse for humanity, and we've seen a bunch of them in recent times, within gaming, outside of gaming. This one, I'm very sorry to see it go. I'm very sorry to see Netflix not move forward with it, but at the same time, Sony have seen the success of Gran Turismo, they've seen the success of Uncharted and The Last of Us, and a couple of others in recent time in live action. They're not going to not pursue one of their strongest story franchises, because one company isn't moving forward because the person in charge is a predator. So they will take this to another studio, another creation warehouse, somewhere else, and they will still create this show. It might be 2-3 years down the line, because they're probably going to have to start from scratch. But I reckon a Horizon TV show will still happen. It's just not going to happen at Netflix, and it's not going to happen with that particular showrunner. And rightly so. If you're that sort of person, you don't deserve to get any work, and you should be ousted from the industry. So it does suck that we're not getting it as soon as we were originally promised, but as long as we do get it somewhere down the line and nobody on set is abused by the showrunner, or abused at all, would be perfect. It's just unfortunate in that business. It seems to happen and follow every single production. But as long as we can protect people as much as possible and come out the other side with a fantastic show, I'm game to wait.
Well, I guess we'll have to wait then. It's too bad one bad apple ruins the whole show for everybody. But hey, soon we'll see it, and I'm sure when it releases, it'll be awesome. I'm still waiting for my casting call to be a part of the series. I really think that I could be a great addition to the cast. Couldn't you see me throwing a spear? I got your back.
I could see you getting trampled.
As one of the
You know
villagers?
that guy in the first one?
No.
You know that first one?
Oh my.
The guy who gets taken out by the Thunderjaw? I could see you getting taken out by a Thunderjaw. Like the Hunter's Apprentice, getting absolutely dominated by a machine on a hunt. I could see you doing that one quite well.
Or make me a part of the future race. Come on, I look like I'm from the future. Dun, dun, dun.
The 1600s are calling and they want their aesthetic back.
All right, this hair is making a comeback. in the it rotates every so centuries. You watch, everyone's going classical look in 2024. Or wait a second, in 24. That's the one.
I knew that would strike a nerve. I knew that would catch you.
Well, that's all we have for today's show. I hope everybody had a great time hanging out with us. This has been a awesome time about PlayStation, chatting it up. Hopefully you learned something today. Remember to check out All Guns Blazing with Saijini, that bullet hell shooter with the Air One. That was one of my favorites this episode. Sony physical disc stopping production, and remember to check your subscriptions and check your finances and make sure you're making the best choice for yourself. Dorgon, what do you got going on your channel?
Not a huge amount. I've got a few scripts in the work at the moment. So it's everything that was live last week is live this week. I have just hit 1,970 subscribers though, so I'm 30 away from 2,000. So if you know anybody who doesn't yet watch my content and would benefit from it or enjoy it, I would appreciate you spreading the word. That'd be great. Otherwise, links in the description. I've got a bunch of different types of videos up there. 6-month review of the PlayStation Portal, 1-year review of the PSVR 2. Should you buy a PlayStation 5 in 2024, and a bunch of others outside of the PlayStation universe as well. So that's me. How is family game night going for yourself? Is that still a thing, Rue? Because I know with summer and your siblings growing up, it might not have been a thing anymore, but what's happening on your end of things?
They are available today, so I am looking forward to some family game night tonight. That should be good times, and there may be an impromptu review happening for Baldur's Gate 3, so we're putting together some peeps to talk about the game, as I've just finished it on stream on Cloud&Console. So we may be getting into that, and of course the download will be this live on Friday on this channel, so be sure to check it out at this time on Friday.
Indeed. What a week.
What great news. Links in the description down below, and until the next time, go out there, be kind, and play PlayStation.
Till next time, guys, take care. Bye.
To believe in me. Why try? Do I even need to? I die with the season leaves. I glide with the season breeze. True, my mind so easily spooked. I ride just to be the me who finds hype super decently smooth. Nice type, but a